Hello, my name's Vanessa White. I'm a climbing expert and I'm going to talk to you today about how you can get into the sport. Climbing is becoming increasingly popular nowadays, and I'm so happy that I'm considered a source of inspiration to those just starting. Kids these days are beginning to climb as early as 4 or 5. They're physically strong and take part in regular training sessions. The promise they have is quite impressive, really. By comparison, I started to climb relatively late in life, at the age of 17. I started to learn on a small climbing wall near my home, and I've been hooked ever since. What I love the most about the sport is both the physical and mental challenge it gives me. I did my first competition only 6 months after starting, and to my absolute delight and surprise, I won. 2 years later, I became junior world champion, and I've been climbing professionally ever since. For the first 6 months of my climbing career, I didn't buy any special equipment. I just simply enjoyed the thrill of climbing. Then, when things got a bit more serious, I bought the proper shoes and I took part in some training sessions, which is when I really started to progress. I entered myself into all the competitions I could and constantly pushed myself to get better. The desire to become the best became almost like an addiction. Also, the atmosphere at these competitions is just amazing. Nowadays, I'm more relaxed about my climbing because I already feel proud of what I've achieved so far, so anything else is a bonus. Now that I've reached a certain level of success, I don't feel any pressure now. I just climb where I want and when I want. My plan for the future is just to continue what I'm doing at the moment, discovering new climbing spots and meeting fellow climbers. My advice to anyone wanting to start climbing would be to find your local climbing wall. Nowadays, most sports centres have one. It's important to also ask other climbers for advice. It can be a good idea to prepare for real climbs with experienced climbers, as the results are often beneficial. Climbing can be a very social activity, and you can make some really good friends from taking up climbing seriously or as a hobby. One thing that you'll need to be careful of is trying to do too much too soon. When you first begin climbing, it's really important that you build up your levels of fitness, as you'll need to develop your upper body strength, and the muscles can get damaged if you aren't used to this type of activity. I also can't stress how important it is for you to make sure that you have the right equipment and clothing. Safety is obviously a major concern, and although most people know they need ropes and safety hats, a lot of people forget the importance of having the right kind of shoes. It's really important to have the right kind of shoes, otherwise you won't be able to grip well. Perhaps the most useful piece of advice I can give is don't be afraid of failing. You will have difficult moments, but when you eventually succeed, it is worth all the effort you have put in. One of my greatest achievements was managing a climbing route, which initially I really struggled with. I made several attempts at this climb, but I kept on failing. In the end, this particular route became more of a challenge for my mind rather than my body. In fact, it became a bit of an obsession. I remember after each attempt, I would replay the climb over and over in my head, analysing what had happened at each stage. Even though the climb was really difficult, I never lost my motivation. I never gave up. But I don't think I'd do a climb like that again, as I was absolutely exhausted.